What if I told you that even ordinary people can be on top of the world?
The first attempt on the North Pole by a team of women gets underway today.
The epic adventure will take them over 1,000 kilometers of hazardous sea ice.
It's thousands of miles of ice and nobody.
And so I found myself walking into this water and then sinking up to my neck.
I honestly thought I was going to die in the Arctic.
The all-new 30 for 30 podcast. Subscribe now on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
30 for 30 podcast is presented by Mini. We're finding the best sports stories for you right now. And to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet.
Please proceed to the highlighted route.
To find great sports stories, you have to get out into the world and follow your instincts. That's where the new Mini Countryman's all-wheel drive comes in handy. With all four, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and so are 30 for 30 podcasts.
You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, you know, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
Okay, awesome.
You should call them.
I will.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Stephen A. Smith's coming at you live from Radio Row in Las Vegas, Nevada. Site for Saturday night's mega fight. Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Triple G Gennady Golovkin. Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Center. Can't wait for it. No question about it. Oscar De La Hoya will be with us in just a couple of minutes or so. Number to call up as always is 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. I meant what I said about Odell Beckham Jr. I meant what I said about it because it applies to any athlete. You're not getting paid. This notion that you're getting paid just to play. No, ladies and gentlemen, you're also getting paid to lead. Getting paid to lead. When you talk about the mega dollars, you're getting paid to lead. It's just that simple. And if you think otherwise, you got your head in the sand. Oscar De La Hoya, oh, yes, he's on his way. He's coming now. He's coming now. My man is about to walk over here. 10-time world champion, boxing promoter extraordinaire, the man responsible for delivering this fight.
The man who convinced me to make it.
That's right. The one and only Oscar De La Hoya. What's going on, man?
The man who convinced me to make this fight.
Please, man. This is all you. This is all you. So it's almost here. It's almost 48 hours away.
48.
How you feeling right now?
Anxious. I feel anxious, man. I just want to see it. I want to see some bombs. I want to see some knockdowns. I want to see who the best middleweight is of our time.
We've talked about this fight on several occasions. I want to talk to you about the sport of boxing because you're one of the people that did a lot for this sport. You fought all comers. You were a champion. You didn't duck anybody. You gave people fights that they wanted to see. What has been your mentality as you've watched the sport unfold for the last 10, 15, 20 years? What was it like for you to be a part of this sport?
All right. You ready? Let me explain. You ready? So I was thinking about my career, reminiscing, Yeah. So I was thinking, okay, I fought Pacquiao in his prime, I fought Mayweather in his prime, I fought Trinidad in his prime, I fought Sugar Shane Mosley in his prime, I fought Bernard Hopkins in his prime, and the list goes on and on and on. That's what keeps boxing alive, great fights and fighters fighting in their prime, and then you have Mayweather, who takes after me, right? When I retire, and you have these types of fights that are not pleasing to the fan, and little by little you keep chipping away at the sport, Yeah, you're creating these big numbers and this and that, but you're chipping away at the sport, the dignity, the respect that boxing has, And now you transition into Canelo Golovkin. Well, this fight can bring boxing back. We're riding a wave, a wonderful wave, a huge wave, because people are talking about boxing.
I want to get back. I'm going to get back indefinitely because I'm here to talk to you about Canelo Triple G. But I want to get back to that point that you talk about how it chipped away at boxing. One of the things that I did when I've confronted Mayweather in the past about this stuff, I said, look, this is the kind of thing. Oscar not the only one that says this kind of stuff about you. Other people have said this stuff about you as well. You know what Mayweather and many others have pointed to? They said, why won't Oscar blame himself? Because we're businessmen now because Oscar. Now, he talked about how Oscar wasn't just a great fighter. Oscar was a smart businessman, as Oscar knew how to promote the sport and make money for the fighters, not just for the promoters. What do you say to that when people look at the business end of boxing and they might lament it, but they say, Oscar, You taught guys how to do this.
Well, I mean, as I didn't teach guys how to duck fighters. I didn't teach guys how to not fight competition in their prime. You know,
right.
I as a fighter, I taught fighters that hey, you have to fight fighters in their prime. That's the only way boxing's gonna, stay alive and keep growing. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm a promoter, I'm running a business. Yes, I'm running a business. But guess what? As a promoter, and this is a statistic that's on paper, is that we've promoted most of the fights of the year. Us as Golden Boy, I mean, because we don't take risks, because boxing is already a risk. We just make the best fights happen and make the best fights happen for the fans, and you can't make every fight happen because that's the problem. Fighters don't want to fight each other. Fighters want to think about, I can be involved in a nice little boxing event, classic matchup, and I just want to dance around and hit and not get hit and this and that. Man, let's fight. Right. Let's fight. That's why the UFC is so damn popular. That's why all these fans are like, they love the UFC because they love knockouts. They love action.
Well, they love the fact that Dana White makes these guys fight, like you're pointing to. Do you think that boxing should have a Dana White figure overseeing it to make sure that guys fight just like you say they should?
No, it's not having a Dana White. I think what the UFC has is that they are in control of everything. If you want to be part of the UFC, it's an honor. It's you sign a contract and you do what we tell you. And obviously in boxing it's the other way around. The fighter is in charge because without the fighter, there's no sport. Just like with Canelo. I mean, if there's no Canelo, then we wouldn't be here.
That's right.
Where we're at today. So it's just it's two different sports. They're handled differently. Yep. In boxing, the fighter makes the majority of the money. In the UFC makes the majority of the money. It's just totally different.
Oscar De La Hoya right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. Let's get back into this fight, Canelo Triple G. Are you more, less, or the same in terms of confidence for your fighter, Canelo, in this fight comes Saturday night, compared to what you were a month ago or 3 months ago when you first announced that this is what was going to go down?
Probably more confident.
Why?
Just right now, 10 minutes ago, for instance, Bernard Hopkins' guy comes up and tells me Canelo's looking like James Toney, staying in front of his opponent and moving his waist. And, I mean, it just gives you the confidence that Canelo's growing as a fighter. He's learning. He's not going to run. He's going to stay toe-to-toe with him, but he's going to move his waist right in front of him. I love that.
Now you're my man, so I got to get on your this, Oscar, because me and you saw each other in L.A. a few weeks ago now. We've talked a lot since then, but a few weeks ago, you were in L.A. You were a little bit nervous. You were because you were like, hey, he's bigger. Canelo, he's stronger now, but I'm worried, Stephen A., that the speed might be able to get compromised. You don't have that concern anymore?
No concern. No concern.
Really?
Yeah, I talked to Canelo the other day. He said, don't worry about my speed. I'm faster now than ever.
Is he lying? Is that possible? Is that possible?
It could be.
Come on, Oscar. Listen, you're the 10-time champion. Don't dance around. You know this answer better than me.
Could be, man.
But he could actually be bigger, stronger, and faster.
If he does the right things, he does have he hired a new nutritionist and a weight trainer, and if he did everything correctly the way he's supposed to, because of his discipline, because of his the love for the game, the respect for boxing, I think he did everything correctly.
But aren't routines important in this particular? I can't see Oscar winning championships, and then all of a sudden I'm going to go in the ring against this dude, and I'm going to change everything up in terms of my conditioning, my training, etc. because of this particular fight. Am I wrong in thinking that?
Good point. Maybe that's why Triple G's 3-1 favorite. Good point.
Man, you're a promoter because this is your fighter, and you're very confident in Canelo, but then you go praising Triple G too. This is the promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio.
And you know what I love? I have not once talked about how many pay-per-views, did the gate sell out?
Right.
Listen, it's not about that. It's about the fight. It is about the fight. Forget about the business side of it. Forget about how much money they're going to make. People want to see a great fight, and then the money will come.
Oscar, I'm telling you, man, everywhere I've been, I have not run into one human being in the United States of America. I've been all over the place the last couple of months. I've been everywhere. Okay, I have not run into one person who says they are going to miss this fight. Not one person. Everyone is looking forward to this. So
it's a fan's dream, man. This
is my
is
dream. I'm telling you right now, it's my dream. I'll be the first to tell you. Oscar De La Hoya right here with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio. So with all of that being said, what are you worried about for your fighter in this fight? If there's one thing that stands out in your mind that has you concerned, what would it be?
First round knockout. That's it.
What are you talking about?
First round knockout.
Canelo?
If Canelo gets knocked out in one round, then
I can't see that. That's almost blasphemous that you would say something like that.
You asked me.
Canelo ever? Why would you be concerned about a first round? Because you're cold? Because you're cold?
Because you're cold. Because these two guys, when the first bell rings, they're going to run at each other. Somebody might get dropped. Somebody might get knocked out.
See, Oscar, I don't think that's going to happen.
I hope not.
As far be it for me to refute a 10-time champion, but I really don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to be measured at first. I think they're going to be safe for a first round. I think they're going to use jabs. They're going to throw some punches here and there, but I think they're going to feel each other out just a touch. I don't think this will be Hagler-Hearns round one. It might be Hagler-Hearns after that, but I don't think it'll be Hagler-Hearns round one.
I think it's going to be a continuation of Hagler-Hearns. I really do. We'll see.
What is Canelo going to do if he wins this fight? Where do you go? Where do you go from here? Because I don't see anybody else out there really for either of these guys at the middleweight division, and you're telling me he's going to stay at the middleweight.
No, he'll stay at middleweight. He might in a couple of years go up to 168, where we know who's there.
Yes. Mr. Andre Ward, I assume you realize the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Andre Ward.
The planet.
That dude, and what you going to do with that one? I mean, come on now.
Come on. Hey.
Before I let you get on out of here, you talked so much about what this fight is going to mean to the sport of boxing. What is it going to mean to the career of Canelo Alvarez if he wins this?
This is the fight that defines his legacy. You know, this is the first fight that will define his legacy. Same for Triple G. That's why they're going to come out swinging in the first round. Nobody wants to lose this fight. Nobody wants to make it a bad fight. This is the fight that's going to define their legacy. This fight you will talk about for many years to come.
How much do you believe losing to Mayweather will help him in this fight?
It's everything. It changed everything. It taught him what experience is all about. You know, it taught him that you're not invincible. You know, I love the fact that Jacobs gave Triple G a run for his money, because now Triple G knows he's not invincible. Now he has trained like there's no tomorrow for this fight. And now we're going to see a real fight on Saturday night.
Before I let you get on out of here, let me veer away from the fighters themselves and talk about Golden Boy Promotions, because you deserve so much credit for putting this fight together. Canelo's number one. That's your number one guy.
That's our guy.
Who's number two? For Golden Boy. Golden Boy.
For Golden Boy.
It's self-promotion. I mean, I want to give you the promotion. You deserve it.
I can say Miguel Cotto. who's still going strong.
Right.
He just had an amazing win on HBO a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
He wants to fight at the Garden in December.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to fight David Lemieux.
Oh,
right.
I'm worried about that one.
Right.
I'm worried about that one. I mean,
hey, we got to keep making the good fights.
To see what David Lemieux did to that kid, Curtis Stevens. I mean, put him to sleep right in front of his mama. That was very bad. That was his mama standing ringside and everything got carried out on the stretcher.
We got to make the good fights. We got to make the good fights happen, man. So
have you? This is a different subject because Cotto's your guy. I've never recovered from Margarito cheating him.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, how is that? I mean, to turn your fist into just a cast. I thought, listen, that to me is why I've worried about Cotto. That's the only reason.
Right.
Because somebody cheated to do that to him.
He was never the same after
He was
that.
never the same.
Never the same.
Can he ever be the same again?
I think so. I think this fight here against Kamagai he had on HBO the night of McGregor-Mayweather.
Yeah.
It was a vintage Cotto.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a vintage Cotto. I mean, he was throwing punches left and right. He was using his footwork. He was, and Kamagai was just coming at him straight in.
Yep.
So I think that gave him confidence. And will we see a Cotto prior to facing Margarito? I don't know. Right. I don't know.
Right.
But seeing the Cotto that I saw. That other night, it looked like the vintage Cotto.
Everybody want to talk to you. Go handle your business. I'll see you.
All right.
I will see you.
Yeah.
Oscar De La Hoya.
My man.
Promoter extraordinaire. The man responsible for delivering the fight of the decade as far as I'm concerned. Triple G versus Canelo right here with Stephen A.
Supremacy.
You know it. Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I made it. Listen up, y'all. I want y'all to get, if you don't listen to me about anything else, listen to me about this. Every day I come on the air, you see me energized, don't you? You know why you see me energized? Because I get some sleep. That's why, damn it. Sleep is important. When you don't get it, you're mood, you're just blah, you're feeling lackadaisical, you're just moody. You don't want to talk to nobody. You don't feel like working. You don't feel like doing anything because, damn it, you're exhausted and you can't take it. And guess what? If you think you're sleeping but you're snoring, you ain't getting the proper rest anyway. Never mind the fact that it's disrespectful. Makes people don't want to be around you. If you're a man, you got a woman. You're a woman, you got a man. And your partner's around you and you snoring all the damn time. They don't like you very much. Let's just call it what it is. They just don't. So you know what I did to alleviate that concern? I got myself a Zeepa. That's what I did. I'm talking about that deep REM sleep when you start dreaming and wake up totally refreshed and relaxed. It's something I needed to get, and that's exactly what I ended up getting. It's called ZYPPAH, which is Happy Z spelled backwards. So go to Zeepa.com. That's Zeepa.com and get the one thing that is guaranteed to get rid of your snoring, and you can experience Zeepa sleep. Go to Zeepa.com to get that Zeepa sleep I'm talking about. It's Zeepa.com, y'all. ZYPPAH, Happy Z spelled backwards. Back here at the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. Before I get back to the calls, let me say this. There was something that took place last night in Boston. Some fans got in with a huge banner. The banner hung over there. Umpires had to stop the game, have the individuals removed, have the banner removed. The banner said racism is as American as baseball. There were 3 white individuals holding that banner. Some people took it as if, it was a good thing. Talking about America and racism and so what, get over it. Others like myself and many others took it as folks bringing attention to racism that exists and how we all need to be socially conscientious enough to conquer it. Let me say this. See, I'm into being productive. I'm not into just bloviating and talking and, whistling into the wind and then it just fades into the twilight. Nothing ever gets done about it or whatever the case may be. If you can't do something about it, shut the hell up about it. Because just complaining about stuff over and over and over again ain't going to get things done. That's why I constantly lean towards what Chris Rock said to me a couple of years ago when a network approached him about hosting a symposium on racism. A town hall on racism. And it was a bunch of black people that were supposed to be there, were willing to show up and talk about it. And Chris Rock said, absolutely not. That's a waste of my damn time. You want me to host a panel discussion or host a town hall on racism in America? I don't want anything but white panelists and white folks in the audience. I'm black. We know what the hell racism is. We know what it looks like. We know how long it's existed. Damn it, we know why. But we want to hear from them. Those people who have those racist tendencies, feels that harbors that racial conscience. We want to hear from them. That's what Chris Rock said to the networks. And they went, wow, we understand. Respectfully. We really do. And they get it. They never gave him the damn town hall, though. You know why? Because people don't want to sit up there and really, really talk about it. The real culprits that harbor racism in their soul. They don't want to talk about it. And so at some point in time, we just got to grow up. And we got to recognize that these problems are going to exist. Yeah, you can mention it. Yeah, you can complain about it. But the thing that I'm cognizant of is making sure that I don't use something as a crutch. So in the event that failure comes around, somebody is looking to lean on that as the cause for their failure. Damn it, conquer it. Whatever we're dealing with right now as a racist society, is it anything compared to what our parents dealt with? How about our grandparents? How about our great-grandparents? Can we drink waters from the same water fountain? Can we eat from the same restaurants? Can we go to the same schools? Aren't they desegregated? Ladies and gentlemen, I am not going on this diatribe to tell you that racism isn't real, it is intangible and plausible, that it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that. I'm not telling you to ignore it. I'm not telling you not to mention it. I'm simply pointing out this insatiable appetite that we have to address it. Why don't we put our energies towards conquering it? And by that I mean individual by individual, community by community, family by family, before we even get into the form of a nation itself. I have faced racism all my life. It hasn't stopped me. I hang around with a bunch of brothers who have faced racism all their life. It hasn't stopped them. I got news for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be very, very uncomfortable, what I'm about to tell you. Are you ready for this? Are you ready to stop the presses? I happen to know a bunch of white folks who are not racist. Not racist at all. They just want to live their life and do their thing. And they want you to do your thing, and they want you to leave them alone, and you want to leave them alone, and everybody's happy. I tell folks this all the time. You know, we got situations where people are at the jobs and they're complaining and they're going off all the time. People that I work with, I have never invited them over my house for Thanksgiving dinner. I'll be damned if I'm interested in exchanging Christmas gifts with them, and I don't give a damn if they don't want to do it with me. That don't mean we hate each other. All of this need this kumbaya moment that we looking for. Are we really, really looking for that? Ladies and gentlemen, I just had the pleasure of treating myself to a new house. My house is lovely. I work with a bunch of white folks that I like, genuinely. Not a damn one of them have been invited to my house. And they won't be. We work together. We ain't boys. And those who are will get invited because they're my boy. Not because they're white or black, it's because they're my boy. But this notion, we walk the streets with one another and we work together and we have to vibe with one another. Says who? As long as somebody is living and letting you live, focus on that. I only say that to say this. The tag is right. The sign is right. Racism is American as baseball. Fine. Fair enough. But there's white people holding that sign. Because you got an abundance of white people in America who are against racism. And if we're being honest, just like we got some black folks who are for it. Quick to use it as a crutch. To excuse their own inability to be on the come up. Now, is that me calling out my own? Hell with it. Yeah, it's me. You know why? Because I come from a community filled with ancestors who faced far more daunting circumstances than I did and found a way to thrive. And damn it, I'm doing the same. Yes, you speak out against racism. Yes, you commit yourself to conquering it. Yes, you find it unacceptable. You do what you got to do. But please understand that while doing so, everyone ain't the villain. Sometimes you can end up being your own because you focused on things other people ain't even thinking about. It's just a thought. One of many.
Want to be a part of the show? Hit Stephen A. up weekdays from 1 to 3 Eastern at 866-729-3776.
What if I told you some stories you need to hear to believe?
It was the rivalry of the hammer and the nail, and Boston was the nail.
You would hear Yankee suck at a funeral, Yankee suck at a football game.
The second we said Yankee suck t-shirts, people just crowded around us and bought them as fast as we could sell them.
The all-new 30 for 30 podcast. Subscribe now on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts.
30 for 30 podcast is presented by Mini. We're finding the best sports stories for you right now. And to do that, we're behind the wheel of the new Mini Countryman, the biggest Mini yet.
Please proceed to the highlighted route.
To find great sports stories, you have to get out into the world and follow your instincts. That's where the new Mini Countryman's all-wheel drive comes in handy. With all four, we can chase down a story in the city, the country, and most places in between. No matter what story you're chasing, the new Mini Countryman will help you find it. It's available now, and so are 30 for 30 podcasts.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show, here with you for the next hour over the airways of ESPN Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 80. Number to call up, as always, is 866-729-ESPN. That's 866-729-3776. Jam-packed show here with you today, coming at you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Convention Center here, inside the hotel, site of Canelo Alvarez, Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, super fight. A little more than 48 hours from now, Saturday night, September 16th, live on pay-per-view. Listen, before I get back into the fight, there's a few other things I wanted to get into. I started the show talking about Odell Beckham Jr., not interested in seeing him tap dancing and trying to look like he wants to be on Dancing with the Stars. Get your behind back on the football field. Pay attention to optics. Understand you want your money. You got to look like you're completely focused and dedicated to the sport of football as opposed to just relying solely on your talents and gifts. I interviewed Oscar De La Hoya. Talked about Oscar De La Hoya and, you know, what this fight means, what it means to boxing. He also made sure to remind everybody that while he was an innovator in terms of boxers becoming businessmen, he certainly was no innovator or pioneer when it came to ducking fights. You understand? You can take that as a shot at Floyd Money Mayweather. I don't think he'd apologize for that. We know what Oscar De La Hoya was talking about in that regard. So we talked about that for a little while. Then I got into the whole flag issue, banner issue rather, at Fenway Park in Boston. Talking about racism is as American as baseball. That's essentially that's basically what the banner said. 3 white people held it up. They obviously want us to be more socially conscious, recognizing the importance of racism in America and how it's sullying our society and beyond. We know what I had to say about that. I stand by what I said. It's a problem. It's something that definitely needs to be addressed. But we need to pay attention to the fact that there's a lot of people who are not racist. And we do have a chance as a society to all come together as one in some respects. The individuals who are haters, nationalists, whether it be white or anybody else, they're in the minority. Most decent, God-fearing people that can live with one another, whatever, that would happen to be the majority. That's who America is. It's what we are. Having said all of that, that brings me to Colin Kaepernick. Because Mr. Stills, Kenny Stills, leaves for Miami Dolphins, wanted to speak out on behalf of Colin Kaepernick. Kenny Stills says he should be garnering more support. We should all stand up and we should support him. Blah, 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 blah. I don't need to read the damn quote. I'm not interested in the quote. I get the message. I've heard it loud and clear. Personally speaking, for the record, I want everybody to know I'm sick and damn tired of talking about Colin Kaepernick. I really am. I'm sick and tired of talking about a guy that was 1-10 last year, that completed less than 60% of his passes, that hasn't been winning football games, although it's not his fault. If I were playing for Chip Kelly, I'd lose too. Trent Baalke was my GM, I'd lose too. They took Jim Harbaugh away from me, I'd lose then too. I get it. But here's what I'm getting sick and tired of with Colin Kaepernick. People like the Kenny Stills of the world, are actually acting like people haven't stood up and done anything. You've had protests on his behalf. You've had athletes, both black and white, step up and speak up for him and on his behalf. Can I ask y'all a question? And it's a very, very important question because I don't think enough people have asked this question. So I'm going to look at everybody and I'm going to ask it right now. For all of y'all that sit up there and say Colin Kaepernick deserves a job, if you were Stephen Ross, the owner for the Miami Dolphins, would you have hired Colin Kaepernick after he wore that Fidel Castro T-shirt? Just a question. 34% of the population in Miami is Cuban. Fidel Castro is their version of Hitler. Would you have done that? If you're Steve Bisciotti, the owner for the Baltimore Ravens, you are a billionaire. You're in the NFL. Season's about to begin. You had Ray Rice for domestic violence. Okay? You had the whole Freddie Gray fiasco in the city of Baltimore, which buffered the points Colin Kaepernick was making because it was black police officers involved in the whole Freddie Gray fiasco, not just white police officers, right? If you're Steve Bisciotti and you went and you watched Leonardo DiCaprio in that movie Django and you saw him as that slave owner, right? And you saw Samuel L. Jackson as that ultimate house Negro. Samuel L. Jackson, who sat up there and thought that black folks were the low lives of the earth. And he was black, but he didn't want you to think he was black, and he was darker than most black people. That was Samuel L. Jackson. And you're Steve Bisciotti. And you saw that movie Django. And this same dude that's looking for a job, his girl, his woman, sends out a tweet calling you Leonardo DiCaprio's character. And Ray Lewis, Samuel L. Jackson's character. Are you hiring this brother? I mean, are we going to grow up and be honest? Are we going to grow up and be honest? Are you hiring that brother? I got an even better question for you, or just as good of a question. I'm not Steve Bisciotti, but I'm his boy. Am I hiring you if you do that to my boy? Because the billionaires, that's a billionaires boys club. They don't operate under the same rules. They cut checks. They don't cash them. Oh, I apologize. They do cash one. The $245 million a piece they got last year from the NFL in terms of profits that they generated for the league for 1 year. Yeah, they got those checks. Other than that, they're usually cutting them, not cashing them. It's a billionaires boys club. Are you hiring? Are you hiring Colin Kaepernick under those circumstances? It's a very, very, very simple question. I'm just wondering. Those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about. Those are the kind of things I'm paying attention to. Because when I look at you, and I think about Colin Kaepernick. See, Kenny Stills can talk all the talk that he wants, and he's not wrong, but I don't see him risking his job for it. You got other cats that's going home. And by the way, you know what else we haven't taken into consideration? Are y'all ready for this? Because I'm going to get deep with the fellas here. I didn't say black. I said the fellas. That means men. I'm going to get deep with the men here. How many of y'all got women at home? Who's your wife? Your lover? The mother of your kids? That's sitting there going like this. You better not get yourself involved in that. We got bills to pay. I understand you all conscientious and everything, and I can appreciate your support for Colin Kaepernick, but he didn't know this was going to be the fallout. See, these are the kind of things that I think about. Because let's not act like this is a secret. Let's not act like this is a surprise. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Colin Kaepernick is being blackballed. Colin Kaepernick is being victimized. Colin Kaepernick did nothing wrong but exercise a peaceful protest. He should not be treated the way that he has been treated. But let's not act like we're surprised, please. We knew what was coming. We knew that no matter how much he said he was focused on racial prejudices and police brutality, that folks from different parts of America were going to say, wait a minute, that's the red, white, and blue. That's our flag. I know this man didn't just go out and do that. We know good and damn well. That's what folks going to say. No matter what. Colin Kaepernick knew that as well and did not care. So I can appreciate where Kenny Stills is coming from. But let's pump the brakes in asking others to join in risking their well-being. People have spoken up. They've said that he's been done wrong. Outside of that, the billionaires are saying to you, hey, man, John, Champ, Juvie, whomever. They say, look, fellas, we heard y'all. We appreciate you. But, damn it, this is my team, and I don't want him on it. Period. You may not like it, but you damn sure going to learn to accept it.
Catch the Stephen A. Smith Show live on 98.7 ESPN New York, ESPN LA 710, and Sirius XM Channel 80.
You just can't make this stuff up.
Weekdays from 1 to 3 Eastern.
You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne. Longtime listener, first-time caller. Why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
Okay.